Okay, guys, thank you so much for hopping on. We have our fourth Sunday call, of course, and this is the time for our whole team to come together and hear from an amazing guest speaker. And I have to let you guys know, if you're new and this is your first guest trainer to hear from, oh my goodness, you are in for such a treat. Guys, we have so much wisdom to learn from so many people in Arbonne, and I think that our culture is so amazing in that our guest speaker tonight, but every fourth Sunday, is not paid on any of you guys. She's not paid on me and I'm not paid on her, but we love each other. And guys, that's the culture of Arbonne. And I love our culture so, so much. And Anne exhibits and just exudes Arbonne culture in everything that she does. I've learned so much from her. I specifically and vividly remember meeting Anne on my first NVP trip to Maui. So that was 2011. And Anne has been in Arbonne longer than I have, and she's been in an NVP way longer than I have. And Anne just kind of took me in and was so kind and so sweet. I'll never forget it because, guys, your first year in Maui, you're just kind of like, oh my goodness. And guys, we promoted September of 2011, and Maui that year was in October. So I'd only been in Nation for a couple weeks when I got to go to Maui, which was amazing, and that was my goal. But then when you get there, you're like, oh my goodness, like I don't know any of these people. And Anne just scooped me up, and she loved on me that week, and as she does every time that I'm around her. But she is someone that you guys are going to want to get to know. She is so joyful. She's so fun, guys. She's a fun person to be around. And I always learn something from her. But I want to share with you guys just her little bio, just so you kind of know some background on her. Anne lives in Colorado. She's married to her husband, Matt, and they will be celebrating their 22-year anniversary in May, which is incredible. Congratulations, by the way. They have 5 kids. 3 of them are biological, and 2 they've adopted from Uganda. And all their kids are so precious. She has been in Arbonne since January of 2003, so just over 16 years, which is a huge wow, like that's, guys, longevity in this business is everything. I want you guys to know that. Longevity is everything. And so 16 years, that's quite a mile marker. But she promoted to region October 1st of 2003. So if you'll catch that, looks like about 9 to 10 months after she started Arbonne. And then Nation the next year. She loves Arbonne because it's allowed her to say yes to the things that she's been called to do. And guys, I love that about Arbonne, that we get to do this business and it allows us to do the things that we're called to do, those things that are uncomfortable for us, but we know that we have a tug deep down inside that we're called to do, and I've firsthand watched Anne do that, and it's been miraculous and amazing. And so, and with no further ado, I want to welcome you to our team Zoom, and we've got an incredible organization full of movers and shakers that are huge visionaries that have these hopes and dreams in their hearts and in their heads. And I hope and I know that your story is going to inspire every single person on this call tonight. And I'm just so grateful that you took time out of, I know, a very busy weekend for your family to pour into my team, and it truly means the world to me. And I'm so excited just to hear your nuggets and your story. And even though I've heard it before, I don't think we can ever hear people's story enough, because it's always just so inspiring to know that not everyone has to be exactly the same. In fact, it couldn't work that way, right? And everyone has so much uniqueness to bring to the table, and I'm excited to hear yours tonight. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Alyssa. It's always an honor to be asked by a sideline to have you speak for their team, because they don't have to ask you, and so it really actually is an honor because it really just shows that they trust you, and they, that they believe that they trust you with their team. So thanks so much, Alyssa. I don't know about you guys. I love your leader so much. She has such a beautiful heart, and soul. And she truly wants the best for everyone. And that is the Arbonne culture. It's what Petter's vision was. And so I'll just tell you, I'm going to tell you a little, I'll share my little nuggets as I share my story a little bit. I started this business when my son was like 9 months old, 10 months old. He turned 17 on Tuesday, which is crazy town. But he, so I had one child when I started, and now I have 5. I always thought I wanted like 4 kids. And anyway, I have 5. But what happened is like, I started building this business because I just wanted a little bit of extra money every month. I don't know if you can relate. And then I also wanted to earn a trip every year. That was like as big as my vision was. And so a lot of times when people start this, they see people like Donna Johnson, who's built orphanages in India and Uganda, or they see Valerie Edwards. Both of those people are national vice presidents, if you don't know them, that basically her nonprofit provides for this whole orphanage in Guatemala, where she adopted her son from. And you think, oh my gosh, like, I have no idea what I want to do. Like, I just need a little bit extra cash. Like, I guess I can't be a national vice president if I don't have a foundation. And what I want you to know is that couldn't be further from the truth. When I started, I had my husband and I we wanted children, and we had talked before we got married that we were open to adoption. But if we had kids, we weren't going to necessarily adopt, because I don't know. That's just, it didn't really cross our mind. And so we had Joseph. Then we went region, we went nation, and I had my daughter Sarah, and she had some health issues. And so then we didn't have children. We thought we couldn't have any more. And so then we decided to adopt Vivian and Bira from Africa. And what planted the seed for that is so I was, plugging along in my Arbonne business. And the thing that I think is so funny is I went to this retreat that Cecilia put on, and it was for area managers and above. And it was the last time that she did her whole entire organization. And it was in 2009 in Oklahoma City. And Bruce Wilkinson was our speaker. And I don't know if you know who that is, but he wrote like The Prayer of Jabez and Dream Giver, and awesome books. And he's talked about dreams. And so that day when he was speaking, he had talked to Cecilia about some of her dreams. And one of her dreams was for Arbonne women to go on a mission trip to Africa with her. And she was going that summer. She had no idea he was going to say this, but he said, if you have the tug to go to Africa on a mission trip, this is not a safari, I want you to get out of your chair and come on stage. And she's like, oh my gosh, what's he doing? Like, she's sitting in her chair, like, what is going on? And there were 25 of us that got out of our chair. And honestly, you couldn't have kept me in my chair. And went on stage, and not all of us went that summer. Cecilia couldn't go because of family stuff, but many of us, I know it was over 15 of us, went to Zambia to go on a mission trip. And we worked with orphans, and it planted a seed for me. God planted a seed on that trip. And so, that was 10 years ago. And I look at that now and I'm like, wow, that's just amazing. Like 10 years ago, I went on this trip, and so much has happened since then. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I hate shots. I had no interest in going to a third world country, though I have always had a heart for women and children, especially widows and orphans, always, my whole entire life. I never wanted to be on a long plane ride. And I don't know if you know anything about traveling to Africa, but it's like 30 hours of travel. And so I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that was so if you can follow me for a second, my biggest fears about going on a mission trip were the shots, the immunizations, and the long plane trip. So this is the deal. The long plane trip is really no big deal because there's like movies and constant water the whole time. So you don't need to worry about it. The shots, like everyone, some people don't get those, but I did because I'm like, I didn't want to get like yellow fever or whatever. So I think yellow fever, actually, I don't even think that's a shot. I think they took medicine. I can't remember. But anyway, so, and so when I got there, it's so funny because those were my biggest fears. So like, think about that in your Arbonne business. What are the things that are holding you back? To me, that is absolutely comical that's what I was scared of with the mission trip. And then I got there and it was fine. But if I would have let the plane trip and the immunizations hold me back, I wouldn't have gone. I wouldn't have like felt the fear and done it anyway. I mean, I wouldn't have gone. And you know what wouldn't have happened? The seed would not have been planted. God, like the last day that we were there, we walked through the slums of Lusaka. And if you have not been to a third world country and not been in the slums of a third world country, the pictures don't do it justice because there's a smell that like animals live better here in the United States. Like any animal in the United States lives better here. And I was like, I couldn't handle it, you guys. Like, I thought I was going to vomit, not just because of the smell, but that people were living in this. And I was like, this is just so wrong. And so I'm not going to get on a soapbox about that. But what happened is God used that trip to plant a seed in my heart that I didn't even know that was going to grow. Okay. Or, and what he did, I tell people all the time, is that he used this business as like my boot camp or, my preparation for my purpose. He used this business to like get my hiney, like the personal growth, for example. Like I recognized that it was comical that I was scared of a plane flight and scared of stations. I could see that because of the personal growth. So I sucked it up and I did the do and I went on the trip. Okay. But I think if I hadn't have been in Arbonne, I would have made excuses and been like, oh, that's just not for me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not called to that. I'm blah, blah, blah. But I knew I was called to it. So I knew I had to do it. So the first like 5 to 6 years of my business, my stomach hurt. And it's not just that I had GI issues. I'm sure I did have some of those because I have to eat gluten-free. I have an autoimmune diagnosis, but it's not just that. My gut hurt. And the reason why my gut hurt is because I really believe that, because with my belief system, this is what I believe, that the Holy Spirit was literally tugging me to get my hiney in gear to build this business. And so I tell people all the time that my stomach hurt because I had to keep going because I had to follow my tug. There's so many times, you guys, like I just wanted to cry. I didn't want to build this business. I wanted to be like, why am I doing this? This is hard. I don't like rejection. I don't like people like being rude to me and telling me that, I have an education and why am I doing this? Or, whatever. I mean, people say whatever. We all know if you've been pregnant and you're standing in line at the grocery store, people say stupid stuff, right? So like, it's just like, well, they say stupid stuff about this business. This is the deal. People say stupid stuff all the time. It doesn't matter what you're doing for your business or whatever. People just, I'm not judging. I'm just saying we got to mind our mind. Okay. So, and I totally went on a tangent with that one because that's what happens when you start talking, and start talking about the stupid stuff people say. But, and so what happened is if I recognized I have to go on this, and then God planted that seed. And so now 5.5 years ago, we adopted 2 little girls. They're now 10 and 7. Their names are Vivian and Bira. So I have, my oldest is going to be 17. My daughter's going to be 14 this summer. Vivian's 10, Bira's 7. And then because, God has a great sense of humor and he wants to keep everyone, on their toes, he brought a little baby to us that we didn't think could happen anymore, because I had her at age 46, and she honestly is the healthiest child that I gave birth to. And she'll be 2 this summer. And I'm telling you, I feel like God just has used this business so much to again, it's that preparation for a purpose. I never in a million years, if you would have told me 16 years ago that I was going to adopt 2 kids from Uganda, I would have been like, no, I'm not. If you would have told me that I was going to have 5 kids, one of them was going to be born at age 46, I would have been like, no, I'm not. I'd be like, no, I'm not. But with this business, it totally helps you if you are open to it, and if you do the personal growth. And frankly, if you're coachable, and if you say yes to the things that you're called to, because this is the deal. It's Sunday night and you're on a call. You could be watching anything you want, because there's Netflix, you could have DVR'd something. I don't know if that still exists, because I just have Netflix and Amazon Prime, but there's so many things that you could be doing right now, and you've chosen to be here right now. So that's a really big deal. Congratulations. And if you're going to GTC, congratulations, because that's a really big deal. If you are signed up for the virtual GTC, congratulations, because that's awesome. And if you're not signed up for the virtual GTC and you're not going to GTC in person, sign up for the virtual GTC, because it will be the best money, $99 you've spent. But I'm going to tell you something. I have learned so much on this business in this 16 years. And one of the things that I learned that helped me with our adoption was discipline the disappointments. I learned that from ENVP Cindy Pipkin, and she was like, discipline your disappointments. What does that mean? That means when, the party falls through, or the ace that you thought was going to say yes and sign up with you decides to go with XYZ company, or that turns her nose up at you and doesn't, ghost you on your text or whatever, that you just keep going and you just say, you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not going to let that define me. I'm not going to let that hold me here, because there's something bigger. So this is the deal. This business is awesome. Okay. Because this culture is like this bubble that is incredible. People speak life into one another. And if the reason why I want you, if you're not going to be at GTC in person, for you to be on that virtual GTC, is because you're going to hear from Rita Davenport. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you need to get her or CDs or whatever it is. The woman, I'm telling you, my daughter, do you know what my daughter quotes her, my almost 14-year-old daughter. She's like, I know you're going to think this is kind of morbid, but basically we're kind of joking around because she's 13. So her 13-year-old friend, they're in the car, we're driving along. And we were just like, I just said something like, if something happened to me, Sarah, just, take all of the china and the crystal, wrap it up and put it away for you and your sisters. Don't, and Sarah goes, yeah, because the second wife, she just chips everything. That's what Rita Davenport says. And so my daughter knew that, right? And so I was like, yeah, and just so you know, the second wife, she's going to have to be perfect. And her friend was like, yeah, she's got to have to cook like you. So it was this huge, hilarious conversation, the second wife, if something happened to me. And so anyway, it was just really funny. But so it's here, Rita she's taught me, and I've been able to teach my daughter these honestly funny things, but there's lessons with it, right? Don't save your china for just one day a year. Don't save your crystal for one day a year. Use it, and so you want to listen to Rita, and honestly, you want to re-listen because you're going to learn so much, because she teaches with humor and love, and it really, honestly, it gets into you, and it's it's beautiful. And so okay, so I don't even, again, I'm I only had one mind health today, and I really need 2. So please forgive me. I really need 2. I have learned that, and I'm shoot, I should have had 2. I apologize. Okay. So our products really work. Have you used that new product, that jelly? Have you used it, Alyssa? Okay, you guys, it's like incredible. Okay. That was a huge tangent, but it is, our products are amazing. I'm going to be 48 in just a couple of months. I have no makeup on except for lipstick. Our products really do work. So just remember that. Okay. So one of the things that I have learned honestly recently, and I wish I would have learned it a long time ago, so I'm going to share it with you. And that is rejection only hurts when you make it about you. And this is the deal. It's not about you. Like, think about the boy that rejected you. If you're, like me, the boy that rejected me in high school, whatever, like I teach my girls all the time, that's their loss. You know what I mean? Like, you're awesome, So if some boy rejected my daughter, I'd be like, that's his loss, And so, but it's like, but if we make it about ourselves, then it really hurts. And so I wish I would have known that 16 and a half years ago, because I was rejected so many times and I thought it was about me, but it's not about me. It's because they don't understand what you're offering them. They don't get it. It doesn't compute for them. And this is the other thing. The other thing is a lot of people can't see, they don't have vision. And I'm not trying to be critical of other people, but there are people that they are just going to stay in that same job for 40 to 50 years because they can't see beyond it. So if you can see beyond it, so let's say you're a consultant and you can see, oh my gosh, I could totally see becoming a regional vice president. I want you to know that's called vision, because some people can't see that. They literally can't see beyond today. They can't see beyond tomorrow. And so they definitely can't see in 5 years or in 10 years. And so if you can see that that's coming for you, if you stay and you're consistent and you're coachable and you do the personal growth, guess what? That's vision. And that's an awesome thing to have. So I also think that one of the things that Petter loved, our awesome founder, is he loved people to be themselves. So who are you? Like, what were you created to be? For me, I was created to be a mom and a wife, and I love my kids. Now, are they everything? No, but I love them. And that is part of like my vocation. It's part of who I am. And, it's really important, I think, that whatever it is that we were created to be, that we need to own that. So I love that GTC, our theme is own it, because it's like we need to show up and own it. Like, put your shoulders back, stand up straight, own who you are and what you were created to be. And do the work. Like, one of the things I tell my kids all the time is I'm like, we're not getting stuck in the muck. Like, we are going to move forward. So think about it. Like, how often do you allow yourself, like inside your head, to get stuck in the muck? I don't know about you, but I have to get myself unstuck several times a day because I live in this thing called the world. And if I just lived in the Arbonne bubble, I probably wouldn't get stuck in the muck, but I have to run into people who haven't done the personal growth, don't understand about speaking life into one another. They don't understand about lifting, that the rising tide lifts all boats, like that's not part of who they are. And so, that can cause us to get stuck in the muck if we're not minding our mind. One of the things that I feel like I learned really early on in this business was to be really generous. And that doesn't just mean like with money but it just be generous with your time, be generous with kind words, be generous with how you treat people. And you can never mess up if you're generous, if you're generous with kindness and one of the things that my grandmother always used to say is, to be kind to everyone, because you don't know the battle that they're facing. You don't know the battle that they're walking through every single day. And that kindness really is such a wonderful gift and such a virtue in our world. I wish I would have learned this a long time ago. I did surrender to the process with Arbonne, and I do believe that's, I did the do. but I would encourage you to surrender this, so if you're a believer, like surrender this business to God, give it to him, and ask him to work through you and to use you to further his kingdom. If you're not of the same faith that I am, surrender to the process. This business is a process. We've got to do the personal growth. We've got to do the activity. We have to talk to people. We have to invite people. We have to ask people to take the look. So be surrendered to that and know that it's a process and that your journey, my journey is different than Alyssa's. Alyssa was a school teacher. She started this business before she had kids, right? Or did you have one? You before? Yeah. I just had one child. There's people that start this business and they've had 5 kids, and they're in their 50s. Like, it's okay. Like, everyone's journey is different. And it doesn't mean I had two national vice presidents promote. One promoted on December 1st, one promoted on January 1st. They both got to go to Maui this year. It was amazing. And this is the deal. Both of them, one had been a regional vice president for 13 and a half years. She had been in the business for 13 and a half years, promoted to region in 4 months, and was a regional vice president for 13 and a half years. Are you willing to stay and to keep working and to be consistent? Because that's what she did. And now the other one had been in Arbonne for 13 years, just a little over 13 years. She had been a region maybe for 4 years, I think. I can't remember. But she had been in area for like 9 years. I mean, it was a long time, and so it's like, I look at their situation and it's like they were consistent. They were loyal to Arbonne. They were, they did the personal growth. They were coachable, and their time was later than mine or Alyssa's. It's like, it doesn't make it any. And what I can tell you is that when they came to Maui, they both knew it was like the perfect time. It was the perfect time. And one of the things I feel like I've learned on this journey is to always add value to people. And I think that that's so important. And you know what, you guys, I am so far from perfect. I hope you know that. Like, I am so far from perfect. But I think with this business, it really does teach us to just to love people. Rita always taught us that, to love each other, that's just part of what we're called to do. And I think it's really important to work out of your strength zone. So some of you guys are really great in front of people, and some of you guys are really great at one-on-one. And so find out, work that strength zone, and don't there are things that I'm not good at, and it's really better for me to work the things that I'm good at and to not worry about the things that I'm not good at. Does that make sense? It just, because otherwise I'm beating myself up the whole time, and I have a whole bunch of negative self-talk about the things that I need to get better at, instead of focusing on the things that are in my gifting. And so one of the things that is in my gifting, it's relationships. Well, guess what? That's where I need to spend my time. It's with relationships, and that is where I spend my time. And that's what I have to focus on. I can't focus on I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things I can't do. And so I'm not good at any social media, not good at it. Should I get better at it? Yeah, I should. But you know what? It's just not, I'm not great at it. Okay. So, and some of you guys are great at it. And so work with that, run with that, frankly. But I think so often what people want is they want to be reminded of who they are. They want to be reminded of who they were created to be. I don't know about you, but I want someone to say to me, Anne, you were created for great things. You are a daughter of the Most High King, and he looks at you and you are loved by him. And he is so proud of you with all that you've done. And so and oh my gosh, you said yes to something that's so hard, which is adopting 2 kids from a different culture that have major trauma and major attachment issues. And you guys, it is a full-time job. It's a full-time job to be a mom, but then it's a lot of work with what we're having to do with Vivian and Bureau right now. But you know what? I know it's what I was called to do. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. And so, remind people of who they are and the greatness that's in them, and that it's just, they've got to get out of their own way. I've got to get out of my own way. I mean, I'm still in my own way. I work with, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I have a therapist and I have a coach, and I need both of them. So, that's just me. But one of the things that I've learned with my coach is she talks about, it's so important to mind your mind, but you also need to mind your heart. And for me, that's that rejection stuff. Like I know in my head that I'm not being rejected because of me, but in my heart, it really hurts. And so we have to mind our heart too. And we have to, I don't want to say, but this business, I don't know how to explain it. People, I mean, you could say that it makes you tough, but really what I think it makes you is sensitive to humankind. Like, it's like, it makes you're more sensitive to where someone's coming from. So you recognize, oh gosh, they're rejecting this. They're not rejecting me. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. Or, it's like my eyes have been opened because of Vivian and Bira's trauma and in their developmental years. And so I look at that and I'm like, so when I see a child who's not doing well, like really not doing well in public, a lot of times I think, I'll tell you what I used to think. I used to think, what in the world are those parents doing? Right? Now I think, gosh, I really wonder what happened to that child. And so, it's like this business causes you, to take a different framework. And so just notice that and allow yourself to, just to meet people where they are and to love them with that. And I think there's true beauty and vulnerability. I don't know about you, but like, for example, for me, there's just been my little girls, they are both, they have huge needs right now. And with Arbonne, we are able to help them. And, but it's really, really expensive, really expensive. And, I don't tell everyone that because I don't know. I don't. But it's real. And I just think about what if we wouldn't have said yes? What would have happened to them? Would they be alive? Would they be, chances are they'd not be alive, or they would be trafficked. I'm really not, they're from literally the poorest of poor in rural Uganda. And so I'm so glad we said yes, even though that yes is hard. And so, this business is not for the faint of heart. This business, not everyone's going to be called to do what we've done, but I do think that your calling is I don't know how to explain it. I guess the best way to put it is even when it's hard, I know that I was supposed to say yes to the adoption. I know that was my purpose. I know that that's why I was called to do Arbonne. I know that, my Arbonne family is the most supportive in with what we're going through right now. My mom, my sister, my dad, with both my sisters, they're really supportive. And then I have some friends, and then it's the whole Arbonne community is so supportive of what we've been going through. And so I just that's really unique, you guys. It's really special. And I want you, but before you go to bed tonight, I want you to think about and I know you've been asked this before, I'm sure you have, if time and money weren't an issue, what would you be doing? And for me, it was I was going to give more money away. That was what that answer always was. And then I went on that mission trip and everything changed. And so what I want you to do tonight is to think about like, what are the tugs of my heart? Like what's tugging on me? You know, I don't know. I don't know what it would be for you, but I know for me that these little girls, I mean, like they wouldn't have hope. And can you imagine a life without hope? Like, and I know a lot of times in your business, if you're anything like me, that you think, oh my gosh, this is really hard. And I didn't sign, I just wanted a little bit extra money. And this is harder than I thought. And you want to know why it's harder? It's because it's getting to the core. Like it's like causing you to focus on like that deeper stuff. And that deeper stuff is hard. It's hard. Trust me. I tell like my therapist all the time, he's like, you know, thank Vivian and Bura because they have brought out like stuff that like I didn't think that I had some of the pain in my life that I did. I didn't even know that I was going to really talk about this. So I apologize, but I like maybe someone's supposed to hear it, but I didn't know that. And the adoption brought out some stuff that I didn't even know was in me, if that makes sense. But my therapist is like, thank God that you adopted them and said yes, because you can deal with this. Because honestly, you guys, it was keeping me, the older I got, the more there were barriers between me and God or me and other people because it was a protective mechanism. And so, you know, I'm so thankful that we said yes to the adoption, even though, and it's like the hardest, it's hard. And I have to say yes every day. It's like saying, you know, it's continuing saying yes. And sometimes with this business, you're going to have to say yes every day. You're just going to have to say, you know what, I've been called to this and I need to keep saying yes. And I don't know why, but I know it's because it's bigger than me. And I think that's for me, I didn't really understand what that meant. I meant, oh, bigger than me, like it's helping other people. And it is that. But I think it's also, we don't know the impact that we can have. Like, we don't know the impact. Like, there are 2 little girls that are alive and they're safe because I said yes. But I couldn't have said yes had I not done this business, because I wouldn't have been prepared, frankly. There were so many times in Uganda. I was there for 6. So we went on our first trip for 3 weeks, met them, and went to court. The second trip was like 6 weeks later because they both got really sick, and I was there for 6 weeks by myself with the 2 of them. And there were so many times because of the Ugandan government, and you know, it's just third world. Okay, so third world government. That things were just put on delay, and it was just like waiting. And it's like, I had this one Ugandan that ran the guest house say to me, you know, it's so amazing. You were so discouraged an hour ago, and you just came back and shared this incredible message with me. And I'm like, and you know what that is? That's because I learned about disciplining the disappointments. And so I was able to discipline the disappointments and figure out how to move forward. So that's what that means. We have to be able to move forward. We can't get stuck in the muck. We have to move forward. And so I have a couple of favorite books. If you guys were at GTC a couple of years ago, I love John O'Leary. He's one of my favorites. But another book that I love, and if you guys are from Oklahoma, then you probably know the founder, who wrote this book, and her name is Jill Donovan, and she owns the Rustic Cuff. And I love this book. It's called The Kindness Effect. And to me, it's so like, it's kind of like so Arbonne. I'm like, come on, just come do Arbonne, Jill. Like, hello, you've written this book and it's all about being kind. But one of the things she talks about in the book, it's her whole story. And so I don't know if you know her story, but it's her whole story. And I feel like it's a great book. But she says in here, one of the things she says, I've heard it said, if you haven't caused it and you can't control it, then you can't cure it. What a help that truth can be in our daily lives. So if you haven't caused it and you can't control it, then you can't cure it. So, I mean, right? I don't know about you, that hit home with me. One of the things that she says in here is it's really not about the cuffs at all, but it's about people. It's about the stories, joys, and heartaches we all share. It includes learning how to be there for one another during those times. You guys, that's Arbonne. Like, it's not how many times do you go, it's not about the products? I mean, they are really good. I mean, have you seen Nita Irwin, your upline? I mean, she's gorgeous, and she's like over 60 years old. I mean, she does not look like she's 60, but it's like, it's not about Arbonne. It's not about Arbonne. That was not, Petter's vision was, yes, did he spend time developing the products? Absolutely he did, but it was not about the products. It was about, I mean, do you guys know what his vision was? It was to create as many women millionaires as possible. And why was that? Because he believed with the compassionate heart of a woman, it would change the world. Did you just get goosebumps? Because I always do when I say that. Like, that was our founder's vision. Guess what? Orphanages have been built. People have gone on mission trips. Look what Miranda Burcham did because she had a vision to build 90 block homes in Haiti after the earthquake. And now there's so many things happening in that part of Haiti because she said yes. Like, look at all the things that have happened. Frankly, I can't even list all the things that have happened in Arbonne in the last 39 years. We don't even probably know about them because some people don't even share what they have done because they don't want credit, right? So look at all the things that have been done because one man said that he wanted to create an organization where he was going to create women millionaires so that they can make the world a better place. I don't know about you, but I want that. I want to make the world a better place. Do you? Because this is like, this is the time. We're living now. Arbonne's 39 years old. Like, you can do it. Okay, so the other thing she talks about in here is courage is a muscle that strengthens every time we use it. I don't know about you, but I thank God you only need a few seconds of courage with this business because otherwise I think I would be scared. So she said, I learned that every time I practice courage, I gain confidence. Every time we look fear straight in the face and move forward in spite of it, we build a memory in our minds and in our hearts. Courage is a muscle that strengthens every time we use it. And when we add a new memory of courage, here's what that memory tells us. You have been there before, you have lived through it, and you can do it again. So you know what? That first phone call you made or that first text message you sent when you started your business, that took courage. And you can do it again. Like, we can all do it again. And I'm talking to myself too, because this, 16 years in, people think you've got it all figured out. I don't. And so I want you guys to be so encouraged that honestly, I feel like right now in Arbonne is really the best time to build this business. And why do I think that? Because we have a CEO that listens. Look at all the things that have happened. If you look on for a year, you can see how much he is doing for the field. The products are phenomenal. They're only going to get better. The compensation plan is amazing. But, I always say, those are that's the cherry on the cake, or the icing or the whatever, it's the fun stuff, all the money, the car, all that stuff. That's just that's just the fun stuff. The real beauty in this business, the real gift in this business is that you have the opportunity to become who you were created to be. I don't know about you, but I never had that chance before Arbonne. I never did. I never had people who were like Alyssa, how she introduced me and spoke life into me before I shared with you guys. I didn't have that before. I had bosses who they wanted to keep me down. Like they didn't want me to excel because they were scared I'd take their job. But like, that's what I experienced before Arbonne, you know? And so I love that Arbonne gives us a chance. It gives us an opportunity like we've never had before. And so I want you to, I don't know, I want you to really think about, what is it that I'm like, kind of like, why am I here? You know, why am I doing this Arbonne thing? And I want you to commit to a deeper level, frankly, like commit to yourself, like at a deeper level, because you know what, I mean, we're playing, like for me, I'm playing for an audience of one, you know, that's what I'm playing for in my life. And so I need to, and again, you guys, I am not perfect. I stink at follow-up. Like there's so much in this business that I really stink at, and I'm really not exaggerating. Okay. But like I said before, a gift that I have been given is to build relationships. And I know that's why my business is where it is today. And, so you don't have to have it all figured out, but you do need to be committed, and you need to commit to yourself. If you have faith in God, you need to commit to him. And, you know, for me, I was committed to my family. You know, I was committed that I was going to do what I need to do to provide for them. Because through the beginning of my business, this is what put food on the table, was Arbonne. And so, you know, I just want you to know that, like, it's not just for me and Alyssa. It's not just for the national vice presidents that you're going to see at GTC. There's room for you at the top. There's a seat for you at the table. And we want you to come join us. We want you to be sitting with us at the MVP table. We want you there. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your education is. I mean, and the reason why I'm saying that, because I know this is not an opportunity call, but I want you to know that that's true. That's who we are. That's who Petter was. That was his vision, that all were welcome. And I want you to know that everyone is welcome, and we want you there. And the reason why we want you there is because we know what it can do what it will do for you, but also what then you will be able to do for so many others. And one of my friends said to me the other day, she's a sideline of mine, and she came over and we were talking, and she said, you know, Arbonne's been really great for me, but like, I want it to be greater for my team. I want my team to have all the like Arbonne benefits that I've had. And I think that's how every national vice president feels. Like, we want our teams in Maui. Like, how many times have you heard Alyssa say that? Probably a lot, because she wants you there. Why does she want you there? Because she wants you to be like blessed with this, like that culture. She wants you to have that life spoken into you. And she wants you to be treated like a queen, like, cause that's what happens when we go there. And so I just, you know, I hope that you guys have been encouraged with this. I don't know if any of you guys have any questions, if there's anything that you'd like me to expand on, but I just, you know, I love Alyssa, and honestly, from the time I met her, she's just someone that she just loves, and she loves well, and she just is such a gentle, wonderful, loving spirit. And so I'm blessed to call her my friend. And anyway, I love her. And the first time that we met, like, my husband was like, she looks like Audrey Hepburn. It was so cute. Remember that, Alyssa? We were at this, like, we used to get really dressed up for this one dinner in Maui, and she just walked in, and Matt was like, oh my gosh, I mean, who's Audrey Hepburn? Like, it was so cute. And so I still will say, do you remember Audrey Hepburn in Maui? Like, whenever I talk about Alyssa. So anyway, it's cute. But do you guys have any questions or any thoughts or?
I don't know if anyone has any questions or not. I want you guys to feel like you can ask in the chat if you want. But Ann, I know that you've stirred a lot of hearts tonight. We've got 6 girls that just got back from Ghana, and I know I think I've heard from almost all of them that you've really stirred some stuff, and there's already some stuff stirred, but I think it's so awesome how you can share, and I want all 6 of you to know, like, I didn't tell Ann what to say. I did tell her that you guys went to Africa, but and for all of you guys, I want you to know that there's a reason you're here. There's a reason you're here specifically in Arbonne, and it correlates with your purpose, no matter what that purpose is, whether you found it or not. Because I will tell you, I'm still uncovering mine 11 and a half years in. And so it doesn't, and it doesn't have to be, the purpose doesn't have to be uncovered for you to be on purpose in your business. Because guys, the more on purpose you can be in your business, the more you can fulfill your purpose that you were called to through Arbonne. And Arbonne is just that amazing vehicle that, guys, we are honestly so extremely blessed to be able to have this vehicle that correlates perfectly with your unique purpose to even be on this planet. Like, is this real life that we get to do what we love with people we love to help us get closer to our purpose? Is there anyone that would not love to be able to do that? And guys, when it comes down to it, that's as simple as this gig is. Like, that's what this is. And so if you catch yourself overthinking this, or psyching yourself out, or freaking yourself out, or whatever you're tending to do to hold you back from what you were called to do in Arbonne, stop. Because you have the ability, when you chase your purpose, you give other people permission to chase theirs. Is it scary? Yeah. Absolutely. It's scary for everyone. I mean, you just heard Ann be really vulnerable and share with you guys, like, her fears in chasing her purpose. But guys, that's where our purpose lies, is 100% outside of our comfort zone, right? Like, it's always 100% outside. And so if we don't have the courage to chase it out, we're always going to have that empty space in our heart, in our head, in our soul, honestly, of, this is what you were intended for. Do you have the courage to chase it? So I really want to challenge you guys, whether, like I said, whether your purpose is crystal clear right now, or if it's fuzzy, or if it's empty. You're like, literally, like, Ann, I just started this to make a couple $100, like, and now this lady's talking about Africa. Like, guys, I'm just telling you, like, it's okay. It can start small, but the only way it gets bigger is if you get on purpose with what you're doing, and you know inside of you that you have the ability to change other people's lives through Arbonne. But guys, outside of Arbonne, that's where the real purpose is, right? But this is just our vehicle to do that. And I think, Ann, you so eloquently displayed that tonight with your story and your heart. And I know that you could have probably talked for 12 more hours just about everything.
Yeah, because I'm a talker.
But story, it's just layers and layers and layers, and so much depth, and so much heavy, and so much happy too, and so much bundled into that. But I just think you condensed your story so beautifully to show people that without this vehicle, your purpose couldn't have intersected. It wouldn't. It wouldn't have. And that's just that bravery. I want you guys to give yourself some credit, because that initial yes that you said to Arbonne was one of the bravest things you'll ever do. Because I will tell you, so many people don't even have the courage to say yes to what you've already said yes to. Okay. So know that and be proud of that. But no, just like Ann said, you said yes once, and you've been courageous once. You took a leap of faith once. You can do it again. And guys, I'm going to tell you, the farther those leaps start becoming, the more fulfilling and the more exhilarating this journey becomes. it's actually indescribable. And I know that I'm only partially even tapping into what I've been created for, uniquely myself and my journey and my story. And I know that's true of every single one of you, because you hold so much potential. You hold so much uniqueness and goodness that this world really needs you to show up for. They're depending on it. And so, I'm not going to say anything else, because I could also talk for 12 hours, because I could get on a soapbox about it. But I just want you guys to know that I believe in you with everything that I have. And I think whatever your deep rooted why and reason why you're doing this, it's worthy, it's admirable, it's beautiful, and you have permission to chase it. And you may not have permission from anyone else in your life. And if I'm even the only one, me and Ann right here, the only ones giving you permission to chase this thing down, go for it. Go for it. Because there are people that believe in you. And for every one, me and Ann, there are thousands of other people that believe in you. So don't you dare listen to the ones that don't, because there are way too many dependent on you. So, Ann, thank you so much. Everything you said was so beautiful and needed and amazing. And I'm so excited to get to see you next month in Vegas. And I hope some of my—
I know. I can't wait.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes. If you see me, I would love for you to come introduce yourself to me. Because I just love meeting new people, and if you, want to, if you want to reach out to me, you can message me on Facebook. And, just if you want to talk further about what your heart is tugging you to do, and what your, just like your dreams and your heart's desire, because that's just so much of my story. And I think that, I have, again, I mean, there are a lot of people that are relying on me, but there's definitely all 5 of my kids, but definitely 2 little girls that wouldn't be here. And so I just want you to know that, just like what Alyssa said, there are people, like, your yes every day matters, because and sometimes the yes is really hard to say yes to, but it really does matter. And I believe when you say yes to what God's calling you to, He does not leave you alone in the yes. He is there with you in the yes. It doesn't matter how hard it is. He is going to be there with you in the yes every day, all day long. And you will become who He created you to be when you say yes to what you're called to, what your purpose is. Again, you don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is for you. And I know that mine hasn't even been fully, I haven't even seen all of it yet. I've just seen a portion of it. And so that's what the beauty is, I think, with life in this business. So thank you, Alyssa. I love you so much.
Love you too, Ann. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
And, I so appreciate it. You'll never know how much it means to me for your time. Oh. I know it's precious. But I'll give you a big hug in Vegas. I cannot wait.
Okay.
Sweet dreams, friend.
All right. Love you guys. Have a great night.